Hi everyone, this is the 12th episode of House of Cure presents Doc Talk. My name is Dr. Karan Jadhav. The whole point of having Doc Talk is to simplify medical knowledge for all the general population because there's a lot of confusion out there, especially with regards to COVID. There's a lot of news going around. Today, we'll be talking about a very relevant topic that is the pulse oximeter. With the pulse oximeter being at everyone's house, it's become as if it's the ultimate tool for COVID detection. Unfortunately, that's not the case. And we today have with us Dr. Saurabh Deshpande, who's a cardiac electrophysiologist. And Dr. Saurabh, welcome on Doc Talk, and we're looking forward to having this chat with you.
Yeah, thank you. So I am Dr. Saurabh Ajit Deshpande. I've done my DM in cardiology, and after that, I've taken a special training in the field of cardiac electrophysiology. So electrophysiology is the field which deals with heart rhythm related problems. So I we will be we will be talking about the pulse oximeter more on the side of the heart rate related issues with pulse oximeter today.
Perfect. So, especially with COVID and the pulse oximeter being it's not a very expensive device. And yeah, so everybody's getting them. Everybody has one at home. And everybody's kind of thinking that, oh, the pulse oximeter is like the ultimate tool. It's going to tell me exactly if I have COVID or no. It's going to give me so much information. And it's kind of sad because a lot of people are not aware of how to really read it, who've just seen maybe a video on YouTube and seen like, oh, okay, that's what I need to see. Who've just seen a bit of the news, and there's a chance that they've been misled by the information that they've got, or they've got half information. So it's really easy to misread it. So could you help us and tell us what a pulse oximeter really is?
Yeah. So that's a very important and the basic fact that everybody should know. So we'll go to the basics. I won't bore everyone with the details, but just to have an idea. So the pulse oximeter is a device which is used to detect it. As the name suggests, it detects the oxygen saturation. So what it works on is something called as a Beer-Lambert's law. So we don't need to know about those laws, but there is a
Okay.
light, infrared light, which goes from one end of the device to the other end of the device through your skin. And while going through that, it uses spectrophotometry and optical plethysmography, the two physical laws, to find out the blood saturation and the heart rate and the graph which we get on pulse oximeter. So
Okay.
that is the basic how you get all three components on your pulse oximeter.
So basically, that the light that I see inside here, that's what
Correct.
the light is, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
So that light goes through the skin, and the laws which we saw earlier, it uses those laws to give you three values: a blood saturation value, oxygen saturation, that is, a heart rate, and the graph. So the
And the
graph
graph.
and the heart rate are they are changing, right, moment to moment. So that is what it is. So it is a live demonstration of your heart rate and the graph associated with it.
Okay. All right, Dr. Saurabh, I think that gives us a good general idea. If nobody wants to go into the Beer-Lambert law.
Yeah.
Okay, tell us, Dr. Saurabh, how do we read the graph? Because if I put this on right now, there's a few things that we're all able to see.
Yeah. So as you all can see, I will just wait for the values to come. Yeah. So now we have three things here. The pulse oximeter of any company will show these three parts. The upper part, which is there, is
Right.
is there in yellow colored graph. Once you make it vertical, you will not get a graph. So
Right.
for all practical purposes, it is always better to have the graph. So these are the three components which you see in the video. So the graph-like thing which is there in blue,
Right.
it is the real-time movement of the blood in that area of the body. So how the blood is moving in that capillary, the small blood vessels in that area. That is how the graph comes. And there are the two values. There is a value which is showing 99. There is SpO2 written at the top of it. That is the oxygen saturation of your blood. And there is another value on the right side, which is, I think, 98, is it? 96,
yeah.
Something.
Yeah, it's going down. It's going down.
Yeah, so it is the heart rate, which is there currently. So the most important thing to see is these values should be stable. So you should not take a single value at any point of time. You should attach it to your finger, wait for a minute or so, and then
wait for at least a minute.
Stabilize. Yeah. And once the value stabilize, then that is the value you should take, not the value which you get immediately after putting it to your finger.
Okay. Now, does this graph play any important role? As in, like, is the graph important at all? Like, why is it there in the first place?
So the most important thing in these three is the graph, because what the graph suggests is the infrared light which we saw in the last slide. That light is going through the proper area of the finger. If the graph doesn't come, see now in yours the graph is not coming properly. When you
so mine is more of
a. It did not come properly.
Correct.
No, so whenever you I'll remove and show you.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So I've removed it. It is showing finger out. When I put the finger in, see, look at the graph. The graph is not proper. The first part
it's not
is
stable.
Right. There are both. Yeah. So that stability is very important. If the stability is there, then only you will get reliable values. If the stability is not there, you will not get the reliable values. So that is why the graph is the most important part.
Something as a PI value somewhere
that
around
is the pulse intensity value. That is not much important for us during day-to-day use. The most important thing is the graph, the heart rate, and SpO2. Your screen process.
Right. All right. So I think we've covered what points to be read in your pulse oximeter. Dr. Gaurav, give us an idea about the normal values, what a normal value should be. What's the okay range to be in?
Yeah, so that is very important because we are using it at home. So most of the times we don't have anybody to help us. So the graph, as I told you, it should show a stable graph. So there should be a peak and trough which is stable. You will get the shape of the peak and trough also. You will get it is same from beat to beat. So that is what we have. It should be that way to call it normal. Then you go to the SpO2 part of it, the saturation part of it. So any person with a normal lung will have normal oxygen saturation, which is considered more than 95% while you are inhaling the room air. When you are routinely, when you inhale the room air, it should be more than 95%. You should always seek doctor's help if it is less than 91% or 92%. It's 92 to 95 is the gray zone. But then the important part of it is while you are checking saturation, your breathing should be normal. So the way you and I are breathing right now. So it's not like we are having any problem while breathing. So there is something called as labored breathing. That means you have difficulty while breathing. So if there is a difficulty while breathing and your saturation oximeter showing normal saturation, that is not correct. So the normal saturation should be with normal breathing. Then it is normal. And the third part of it is heart rate. So heart rate, the normal person should have a heart rate of around 60 to 100. While doing activities, it will increase. Any activity you do, it will increase. So the thing is, that is why it is important to check heart rate after sitting at a place for some time, say 5 minutes to whatever time. So you should be calm and not anxious while looking for the heart rate. Otherwise, it will be false.
Naturally, it will be high.
Yeah. So those are the normal things you should look for in pulse oximeter.
Fine. What are the errors that can happen when we read this machine? Because a lot of common population, general population, has bought this machine as the ultimate diagnostic tool. And we, even I, for that matter, am not an expert in reading it, while you are definitely an expert in it. So you could help us as to what are the problems that can arise if a common person reads it, or what are the errors that can arise in reading it.
Yeah. So the thing is, when you have, like we have discussed, three parts are there which are more important for us to know in pulse oximeter. So the most important thing is the graph. I showed you in the previous part of it that the graph should be properly having peaks and the troughs. Otherwise, it will not be reliable. So what can happen is whenever you have an uneven peak or trough ratio, so you will have wrong values of your saturation and the heart rate. So it will not be reliable. You should get it proper and then recheck it. That's why I told that let it stabilize and then check it. Second part is the SpO2. So whenever you are checking the saturation or SpO2, so it should be with the normal breathing again after rest, and it should be stable value. It should not be jumping from 90 to 100 like that. So you have a stable value, take that value. Otherwise, with a normal breathing, then take that value as the value what you have. And the third thing which is there is the heart rate. Again, the heart rate when you are checking. So when you have graph which is even, the heart rate will be okay. Sometimes what happens is in the graph, one of the peaks is small, one of the trough is small. Something like that happens. So whenever you have that with the heart rate, then it will not be reliable. Only show a low value, or it can show a higher value during those periods. So those are like there is something called as ectopic beats which can come in any heart. It can be normal.
Okay.
Then that will give you erroneous readings on your heart rate, which can be erroneously low or erroneously high. So that is a very important part of oximetry, and it has come into light more during this COVID time because people are using it far too often at home.
Right. Okay, that's a good explanation regarding the errors. With so many people using this machine, you as an avid practitioner must have come across a lot of patients asking you so many doubts, right? Doctor साहब, ये number ऐसा दिखा रहा है, ये ऐसा behave कर रहा है. So what has been your personal experience surrounding this machine? And it's very overused, and it's overused, I could say.
Yeah. No, it's difficult to say, Karan, whether it is called to call overuse or not, because see everywhere people are highlighting things about COVID. In a way, that is good, that you should have awareness of what is going on and what is COVID and how it affects your body and all. That is why actually pulse oximeter came in everybody's house, that you take pulse oximeter and check it. But then as if you have an idea of you to use it properly, so in our day-to-day practice we have seen people coming with mostly like they take it and use it say 10 times a day, and then they tell that 1 o'clock it was different value, 5 o'clock it was a different value, and 7 o'clock it was a different value. So it's not like, it's not a machine with which you should get panicked that okay, this, it's not to be checked every now and then. You feel any discomfort, check it. Otherwise you can check it maybe once in a day if you are if you want to use it. But then using it again and again, and then there will be some difference during the daytime. As you have during the night time, your heart rate is generally low. When you get up in the morning or do some activity, your heart rate will be high. Again, during saturation also is the same thing. If you are breathing heavily, then your saturation will be slightly higher than normal. So you will not get the exact value. So rather than checking it again and again every hourly or 2 hourly, check it once in a day, get that a stable value based on whatever discussion we have had till now, and then stick with it. Otherwise you will get different values, you will get panicked, and the panic is the last thing we want during this COVID pandemic.
Absolutely. And I think that's a very good lesson. Like, panic is the last thing that you want during this entire pandemic, especially with the news of the third wave coming in. It's become scary now to a point where you're even a lot of people are even afraid to step out of their homes, and the professions that we are in especially requires us to be out on the field. We really cannot depend totally on telecommunication or teleconsultation, but definitely getting this information regarding this machine, which now has reached every corner of India. That kind of information is important for the general population. uh, Dr. Saurabh, what would be like your golden nugget regarding this machine, or what's your take home message that you would like to give everyone?
So basically, everyone should remember that it has come into our houses during this pandemic. So it is for certain use, as we have discussed till now. So
Right.
whenever you get a machine, learn about it properly, use it properly, so that you will get maximum benefit out of the machine. But again, it's a machine. There will be errors, and you should be aware of those errors. And whatever happens after the use of the machine, do not panic. We are all there. We can help you all with these nuances of these machines, and don't panic. Yeah, that is the main thing for me to tell everybody.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Saurabh. Dr. Saurabh, in case any of our patients want to reach out to you, where can we find you? Which hospitals are you attached to?
So currently, I'm attached to Masina Hospital in Baikala, and there is Symbiosis Specialty Clinic here in Dadar. Otherwise, they can always reach me at House of Cure in Khar.
Awesome. So, Dr. Saurabh, I think this has been a great, crisp, concise chat regarding this very small machine, which is playing a very important role in our lives right now. But thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you, Karan. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Dr. Saurabh. Have a nice evening.